what's up? It's Shelby and welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing another midweek mysteries and makeup video. Today's case is really sad and it is unsolved to this day. I am pretty sure I haven't seen any updates on it. So welcome to spooky season. And as you can tell, I'm in a new area. I moved all my desk and stuff around, so I'm in a different area now, different little setup and stuff. So I hope you guys like it. It's a little bit more basic. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get right into this case. And yeah, today's makeup is inspired by Marina Fess. We're seeing it is a spooky season. This is the look I'm gonna go for. Be ready for a bunch of spooky looks. This case does not have that much information, to be honest. It is going to be a pretty short case, but I am going to talk about some theories and stuff that I think are kind of relevant, like what I think kind of happened, a couple different theories. So let's just get into this. So today we're talking about Akia Eggleston. I don't know if you've heard about her. I've heard a little bit about her, but not much. I just saw a Facebook post a couple months ago saying why is nobody talking about the girl who was pregnant that just who's been missing for a couple years now. So that's kind of the most I've seen on this case, to be honest. And this case happened in 2017. It's not like the media wasn't around then. The media was like popping in 2017, so I don't see why, you know, it wouldn't be relevant, you know? Well, Akia Eggleston lived in Maryland in Cherry Hill with her 2-year-old daughter. I haven't really heard what her name, I kind of did because it was put like that she had a tattoo of her name. I believe it was her name anyway. She had a tattoo that had a name on it, but I don't know if that was her daughter's name. It was never really said, and I don't really remember what the name was. But anyways, she had a 2-year-old daughter, and like I said, they were living in Maryland, and she was said to be a really good mother. Like, you would never see her without her daughter, pretty much. It was always her and her daughter doing stuff, and her and her daughter, you know, she was always in her daughter's life. It was, you know, wherever Akia went, her daughter was there with her, pretty much. She was not with with her daughter's dad. I don't know if he was in the picture or not, like if he was in the daughter's life or not. I don't know anything about that, but I do know that, you know, she was a single mom at this time. She was also about 8 months pregnant when she went missing in 2017. So, and she had a different baby daddy that was not her daughter's baby daddy, and they were not together either, that any of her family really was aware of. So, and nobody really knew who her baby daddy was, and like her family respected that. Like, you know, like if you don't want to talk about it, like it's cool, like we're not gonna nag you and ask you who the dad is. It's none of our business, you know. And she was really excited to have this baby. She was planning her own baby shower, and she was gonna like reveal the name to everybody. She was kind of keeping that on the low so that she could, you know, kind of surprise everybody with the name. But growing up, Akia lived with her mother, and I believe she had some younger siblings as well, because it did say that she was kind of she was an older sister and stuff. So I'm guessing she had a couple younger siblings. I'm not sure how many, but she lived with her mom and her stepdad, Sean. Now, her and Sean, honestly, from what I've seen, got along so well. The second she met him, she ran up to him and gave him like the biggest hug. She really liked him, and she really invited him in. I'm not sure how old she was when they got together, but I know she was quite a bit younger. She wasn't like a teenager, but she wasn't like a really young child either. And they just kind of clicked right away. They became like almost best friends, pretty much. And Akia was said to be like really nice and generous, and she was never one to be like selfish. Like, even if she didn't have it, she was going to help you find a way to get it, pretty much. And if she did have it, she would give it to you, no matter if it was her time, her money, her company. a jacket, like food, anything, a place to stay, whatever you needed, Akia really gave it to you because she was just that kind of a person. I have an itch. Ugh. But sadly, when she was 17, her mother passed away, and this was really devastating for her. Her mom and her were like best friends, like they were super, super close. So after her mother's passing, she kind of kept to herself. She used to post on social media quite often, you know. She would, you know, keep up on social media. She'd post quite often, but once her mom passed, she kind of just kept to herself. She didn't say all that much on social media anymore, which, like I said, was kind of, you know, a regular thing that she would do, but she kind of stopped and kind of just kept to herself and lived her life and, you know, grieved by herself, not really by herself, but it wasn't put out on social media, her grieving. So it was, we don't really know much of her up, you know, until she went missing, pretty much. We don't know too much up until, you know, like her 20s or so. But she had her daughter at 20, and then she was 22. She was 8 months pregnant, and that's when she would go missing, sadly. She had been put on bed rest because she was in a high-risk pregnancy because her baby was breech. And if you don't know what breech is, that means that she would have to get a C-section because her baby was gonna come out legs first instead of head first, so it was super, super high risk. So she was to give a C-section, but she wasn't really worried about it because her firstborn was a C-section anyways, so she was kind of prepared for it. But she was so exhausted by this time. She didn't really do too much, but, you know, kind of rest, like her doctor said, to be on bed rest, so that's what she did. She didn't do all that much, you know, walking around or anything, because one, she was told not to, and two, she really couldn't anyway. She was so exhausted that she didn't even want to anyways. She still went out every once in a while to be with her friends and stuff, but not as often as she, you know, would like on a daily basis, you know, like before this time. So May 3rd, she left, and for a little short trip, like I said, she would do it somewhat often, but not too often. So she went on her little journey through town, but she would never return. She did live with a couple roommates, like I said, but none of them really were too concerned because she was very pregnant. So they figured, you know, maybe she went into labor early or something and was at the hospital for a couple days, you know, something like that. They weren't too worried about it until a couple days later on May 7th. May 7th was supposed to be her baby shower, and like I said, she was super excited for this baby shower. She planned it herself, and she had so many people coming to support her and all of this stuff. And like I said, I think she was planning on telling everybody the name of the baby. I'm not 100% sure about that, but that's kind of what it seems like. So that day, everybody was getting ready for this baby shower and stuff. Everybody was super excited for her. She had a very loving and caring family. So she was getting ready, everybody was getting ready, and when they got there, they realized she wasn't there, which was really odd for everybody because, like I said, she was so excited about this. So everybody started to, you know, call her and be like, hey, like, what's up? But nobody could get an answer from her. So her grandmother texted her, you know, hey, is your phone off? And that's when her grandma would get a reply that said, no, why? Well, then why aren't you answering, you know, your phone? Like, what's going on? And that's when, allegedly, I say allegedly because, I'll tell you in a second, allegedly she replied back saying that she couldn't talk and she'd call her later. So, I mean, everybody waited and they were talking to each other, you know. She never showed up, so they were talking to each other, you know, like, when was the last time we actually seen her? And that's when everybody realized that they haven't seen Akia in a couple days now. So now they're wondering, was that really Akia who texted her grandma back, seeing she wasn't answering? Why, if she could answer that text message, why couldn't she answer anybody's phone call? Maybe it's because she couldn't talk, because it wasn't her. So they reported her as missing, and then they went to her apartment to see if maybe she was there or something, and was, just at home resting. Maybe she was sick and couldn't come to the party, something. But she wasn't there, and oddly enough, none of her stuff was there either. The only thing that was there was a bed and a dresser, and that was pretty much about it. All of her stuff was gone, all of, her clothes, her knickknacks, her pictures. I mean, everything that you would usually keep in your home was gone now. So they went searching for her around town to see maybe she went for a walk or something, had to go somewhere, and things went wrong because, like I said, she was pregnant and not supposed to be walking, and maybe she wanted to get some fresh air. Something happened and she got hurt, but they could not find her anywhere around town. She was like nowhere to be found at all around town, parks, grocery stores, anything like that. Nobody knew where she was, and that's really when the police got involved, because they realized that this was a missing persons case and not really a runaway. So the police came in and they searched, her house and stuff. They didn't really find anything too much, except they found a hole in the wall that was about fist size, which was a little alarming to, investigators and stuff. Like, how'd that get there? Was that always there? And people said that it wasn't ever really there. So that kind of made the police wonder, like, how'd it get there? So, they started to track her last known steps, which would have been on May 3rd, the last time anybody had really heard from her. They went to the bank that she was last seen at, and they got the CCTV footage from the bank and stuff and all of that, and nothing looked off. And they asked the bank tellers as well, like, was she, like, what was going on? And the bank teller said that she withdrew about $572 from her account, but she didn't seem nervous, anxious, upset, anything. She seemed normal. She seemed completely okay, and she just was withdrawing the money that she had in her bank account. And then she, left, and nothing to any of the bank tellers seemed to be off. But what was she pulling all this money out for, Family started giving out missing posters and posting it and trying to get the word out that she was gone, and there was, like, pretty much no trace of her anywhere. And that is when the FBI actually stepped in and offered a $25,000 reward, because they didn't just have one girl missing, they had two. They had Akia and her unborn son now. So her family said that they didn't know really anything about, her baby daddy. So they said, she wasn't really trying to be with him or anything, or, anything like that. And that was that. She wasn't trying to be with him or anything. They all respected her decision for that, and, was like, all right, we're not gonna force you to be with somebody you don't want to be with. So, but her friends would come forward and say that she was actually trying to move in with this man that, with her baby daddy, and her parents were kind of shocked because this had never been, or like her whole family was kind of shocked that it was never brought up to them at all about her wanting to move in with him. But if she was trying to move, who was helping her? Like, if she was 8 months pregnant, she wasn't supposed to be lifting, and she was following those rules. She didn't want to do anything that would harm her, soon, her unborn son. So now they were trying to, like, who was helping her move if she really was, and nobody came forward and said that they were trying to help her move. Nobody, her friend said that she was trying to move, but they didn't help her move. So the cops were kind of like, well, who was then? So her friend came out and said who the baby daddy was, and her family was kind of shocked because they knew him for different reasons. His name was Andre Robertson. This was actually her stepdad's friend, so he was quite a bit older than Akia. I think at least double her age, because like I said, it was her stepdad's friend, so he was quite a bit older than she was. And then a friend of hers had come forward and said that she actually saw her on the 3rd. She was actually the one to pick her up and take her to the bank. So this was kind of big, she took her to the bank, and she said nothing really seemed too off to her. She said everything seemed fine. She wanted to get this money and deposit it into the bank so that she could put a deposit down on an apartment to move in with Andre. They've been living together for a little while, and things were going good, and they were ready to take this next step and move in with each other. But her family was like, I don't really think so, because if she was gonna make this big move, they would have been informed about it. They had heard nothing about Andre, a relationship, nothing. What they knew is she didn't really want a relationship with this Andre. Well, her baby daddy. They didn't know it was Andre then, but she didn't want a relationship with her baby daddy, so how come she's like moving in? It was a little suspicious to her family, but the police, you know, were like, all right, well, if that's what she said, that's what she said, you know? But like I said, the big question was, who helped her move? Was it Andre? And like I said, was it Andre that helped her move? So now they had to get in contact with Andre, and this was way more complicated than it should have been. Andre was very hard to, you know, get in contact with. He pretty much, when she went missing, he did too. He was supposed to bring food to the baby shower. Like I said, he was friends with the family, so he was supposed to bring food to this baby shower for them, but he never showed up. And he also didn't help look for her, and the family kind of thought that that was odd, because even if that wasn't her baby daddy, he was still friends with them, so they figured he would have came to help, because he probably would have in any other scenario. Well, like I said, friends and family were talked to quite a bit. They were pretty involved in this, and nobody had helped her move. Nobody had seen her move. Nobody had heard about her moving, really, except for a couple of her friends. So it was kind of odd to pretty much everybody that she just up and moved, which they also didn't believe, because like I said, she was pregnant, so how could somebody just that pregnant just move, you know? There was also quite a few people who stayed in the house with them, because like I said, she was a very kind person, so she let people, you know, come stay over with them if they needed somewhere to stay. And so those people were questioned, and also some of the roommates' friends were questioned, and none of them had saw her move or have anybody come help her move while they were there. So it was said that Andre actually had a fiance at this time who was also pregnant. Yeah, what a great guy. And he actually had 9 other children with a couple different other women as well. So he wasn't really, you know, somebody to bring home to your mama, is kind of what I'm getting at here. Akia never posted again on her social media, which she did regularly, but either did Andre. The last post that Akia posted was a status that said, "I really wish my mother was here." But we don't really know what happened. Maybe her friend was lying, and maybe she didn't deposit it for that reason, or maybe she did. But a lot of people thought that she was lying about this, but another friend of hers came out with evidence of a text message that said that she was getting ready to move into this new apartment with Andre and stuff on the 3rd, that she wanted to be moved out by the 10th with Andre, but then again, it could have just been a cover-up so that nobody would suspect anything of her taking this money out. It could have not been even her texting. The cops went to her apartment that she was living at, you know, when she went missing, to see if they had CCTV footage, but apparently the cameras were down, so they didn't have any videos or anything, which is a little suspicious, but the cops couldn't do anything about it. The cops also put her picture and her name into every single hospital around the area, so that, like I said, she was 8 months pregnant. This was May, and she was due in June, so if she would come to a hospital to give birth or anything, they were to be notified immediately. So her picture was put pretty much everywhere, but the social media and stuff didn't do too much, which I find so weird. Why? Social media was so big then, this really could have helped if social media would have gotten involved. The news, Facebook, Instagram, like anything, maybe they would have found her quicker, because the first 24 hours is the most vital in any missing persons case. So about 3 months later, a vigil was held at her apartment for her, and quite a few people came, and this is when a big thing of evidence came out to the police and stuff. So during this vigil, a bank card was actually found in the bushes of the apartment. So the cops were notified and everything, and the cops went out there the next day and found out that it was actually Akia's bank card. So she would have had to have it at the bank with her, so she did make it home. But the thing that they found weird about this was they searched this whole apartment and the surrounding area of her apartment and didn't find it the first time. Now 3 months later, at this vigil, when they knew everybody was going to be there, they find it. I find that really suspicious, and maybe somebody put it there to kind of try to make it seem like she made it home or something. I just find it really, really odd that all of a sudden her bank card was found after 3 months, even though they searched this property quite extensively. And it was now past her due date, and there has been no hospital saying, you know, that some woman came in that looks like her, came in to the hospital to give birth. So it was getting a little suspicious and odd. Andre was questioned extensively, but nothing came out of it, and they couldn't hold him anymore, so they had to release him. And after this, he kind of would go off grid and then just pop up with one of his baby mamas, like, randomly, pretty much. And so people found that kind of weird. But a lot of people speculate that him and his baby mama had something to do with it, because it was said that Akia and his fiance did not get along. That they would fight quite often, mostly about Andre, because, like I said, they were both pregnant at this time, and so they were fighting over him, and maybe his baby mama knew that they were kind of hooking up here and there, or his fiance, my bad, was hooking up with Akia, you know, staying around her a lot, and she didn't like that, and things got ugly pretty much, and yeah. And maybe things went wrong. Maybe they got into a fight, things got ugly and out of hand, and, you know, it went down and they covered it up or something. Like, where was her daughter during all of this? Because, like I said, she was seen a lot with her daughter. Like, if she was there, her daughter was there. But I haven't seen, like, anything about her daughter except for the fact that she's not missing. And I think that is the most suspicious thing to me. Like, who had her daughter at this time, you know? I don't know. So over 100 suspects were actually questioned during this, but there was no arrest, and this included family, friends, random people, you know, anybody that, you know, knew her, knew about her, saw her, associated with her. I mean, they questioned quite a lot of people. And then all of a sudden, without the family's knowledge, her case was moved from a missing persons case to a homicide case, and this alarmed the family greatly, because they kind of had hope, because they were still looking for a missing persons for quite a while, and then all of a sudden it was switched to a homicide. So now the family had to come to terms with the fact that they probably were going to be looking for her body and not her. So the police say that they will not stop searching until they find her, but the family says that it was really hard to work with the police. They'd have to badger them and continuously ask them for updates and, you know, evidence and this and that, and they understand that the police are busy, but they shouldn't have to badger them and bother them so much just to get evidence every once in a while. And then the only witness that they had, the last person to see her, actually died shortly after all of this from a chronic illness. So now they didn't have their main witness anymore, pretty much. Her family sticks to the story that she would never just get up and run away. For one, she couldn't. like I said, she was 8 months pregnant. She couldn't just pick all of her stuff up and leave. And even if she did, she definitely wouldn't have done it without her daughter. Somebody else involved that helped her do it or forced her. Like I said, why is nobody coming forward and saying, yeah, I helped her move? Are they scared they're gonna be accused of something? Are they trying to hide something? Maybe she hired a moving company, like on the low one, not like an actual business, because it's cheaper, and things went wrong. Police definitely think that there was foul play because, like I said, there was like a fist-sized hole in the wall, so something went down. Either maybe something got bumped, but they don't think that something while moving got bumped. They think that some foul play happened and something went wrong during this move, and it all went kind of downhill from there. Maybe somebody got angry or upset at her and hit the wall, pinned her against it and hit it, or, you know, something along those lines, I think, is what could have happened. Just like this last year, or this year, I believe, a little update was given. One of Andre's old friends that he was friends with at the time in 2017 came forward and said that he talked to the police as well and her family. And so he talked to this reporter and said that Andre would never, ever do something this violent. And he does not believe that Andre has anything to do with this because he's never had a past of violence. So were police looking in the wrong direction and completely missed the obvious because they were looking at Andre? Or has his friend just never seen him get mad? Or maybe like I said, maybe it was his fiance, maybe it wasn't Andre, and Andre just helped with the hiding of the body, getting rid of evidence and stuff like that to save his fiance. I think the likelihood of her still being alive is very, very, very slim, seeing it's been 3 years now. Her son would be 3 by now, and I think by now something would have came up if she was alive. I don't think she could stay away from her daughter for that long. But, I mean, there's so many theories about it. Like, maybe she ran away because she wanted to start over with a new kid and a new husband, and maybe she met somebody somewhere else, and, you know, maybe, you know, that wasn't her baby daddy. Maybe she met somebody online and they met up and now they had a kid, but, you know, he didn't want to have her daughter, so, you know, she ran away with just that kid. But like I said, her family doesn't think she would do that, and I don't think she would either. From what I've heard, she loved her daughter, and I don't think she would have gave her daughter up for the world. And there's so many theories about why she would have ran away, but her stepdad Sean actually went on a little like show or podcast or something and was talking about a possible theory that he thinks that maybe she was kidnapped not for her but for her son. This is not really that uncommon. People will do this, you know, people who have problems with infertility will go as far as to kidnap people. So they would have known, you know, it was really close to her due date. So if they knew that she was ready to give birth, they would have kidnapped her and had her do like a home birth and take her kids. If you've ever seen Criminal Minds, that is actually a episode on Criminal Minds of a woman who wants to have a kid, so they kidnap girls and, you know, have babies. Or sex trafficking. I mean, women with kids and sex trafficking are honestly very, very high. You know, they will have her and then their kid will go into it as well. So maybe she did get sex. Ow, my fingernail just came off. What the heck? I'm so sad. How the heck did that happen? RIP to my nail. But maybe that's what happened. She, you know, went into sex trafficking, got kidnapped and put into sex trafficking. I mean, that is really not that uncommon. But it pretty much seems like she just disappeared, and sex traffickers are very good at hiding evidence like that. But like I said, some of the stuff doesn't explain it. Like, where did all of her stuff go? Why did she withdraw $572 exactly? I don't know. Some of this stuff is just a little fishy to me. And I feel like there's more answers out there that need to be answered. But, I mean, there's no answers for anything any of the actions that she's done. There's like no answers for anything, and I think somebody knows something that's close to her, like one of her friends or her roommate's friends or even her roommate, that they just aren't telling police because it'll get them in trouble. And I think that's awful because she deserves to have justice just as much as anybody else does. But let me know what you guys think happened to her. Her family has a Facebook page that they post about her all the time on, you know, updates and stuff like that, and just post about her pretty much. So if you want to go do that, you can look it up. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this look. I think it came out pretty good. Definitely not as good as she did it, but she's a professional. I'm not. This is about as good as it's gonna get, and I'm pretty proud. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All of my social medias are down below, as well as my vlog channel, so go ahead and subscribe to that while you're down there. And let me know what you guys want to see next, and I will see you guys in my next video.